hop onto the channel, scroll down. Looks like it's currently loading onto the channel as I speak. There it is there. Yeah, audio is working as it should. That's absolutely fantastic. Streams up, chats up, we're all good to go. It's just hit 1 o'clock my time, so we should be getting on the way very, very, very shortly. And we shouldn't have the 10-minute delay that we had in Tier 1. The Americas Series and the league coordinators of the Americas Series just on top of their game for this week here. Absolutely fantastic. 19 car field. That's really bloody awesome to see. Alright, when the screen cuts to black, I'll start the intro and we could get this stream underway. So hello everyone and welcome to round 3 of the Americas Tier 1 Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Everingham, your commentator for this event, and tonight we'll be racing at Autódromo Internacional do Algarve for the Portuguese Grand Prix. This 2.89 mile 15 turn circuit was constructed in 2008 and introduced to the Formula 1 world in 2020 thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic. In Formula 1 management's desperation to have as many Grand Prix as possible that year, the nation of Portugal would return to Formula 1 after a lengthy 25-year hiatus. The most unique part of the circuit is its roller coaster-like nature. No racetrack on the calendar has such dynamic and dramatic elevation change. This is particularly noticeable in areas such as Turn 4, Turn 8, Turn 11, and the final corner, Turn 15. All 4 of these areas will prove to be the most accident-prone sections of the racetrack. A couple of other areas to look out for are the 2 DRS zones that lead into the prime overtaking spots of turns 1, 2 and 3, which tend to work together for overtaking, and the tight hairpin of turn 5. Outside of these areas though, the drivers will be pretty hard pressed to try and make moves happen. Now before we focus on qualifying, there is a little bit of news to go through. First, from last week's race back at Barcelona. Only a single incident report that I could find, and it revolves around an incident during qualifying where Mighty Wombat believed that he was being blocked by RF1 Tom during a flying lap, and we actually caught a little bit of that during qualifying as well. But the steward's verdict came up as no further action, as they believed that the gap was sufficient enough between the 2 cars to not deem it as blocking. So it means that the final results from that race remain completely unchanged. Looking at the Drivers' Championship, it's VSR Jack leading the way on 62 points, followed by Saucy on 37. 1 point behind him is Blockman on 36, and 1 point behind him is Mighty Wombat in P4 on 35. P5 is Rebellion on 24 points. He's equal with Subfalime and KD 1997 in P6 and P7 respectively. RF1 Tom is next on 23 points, followed by Take It Easy on 17, and Mr. Nas rounds out the top 10 on 10 points. In the Constructors, Williams are leading on 68. They've got an 8-point margin over Alpine, who are on 60. They are 1 point ahead of Mercedes-Benz on 59. 4th place is McLaren on 47, followed by Aston Martin, who round out the top 5 on 37. Then we'll have Ferrari on 22, Red Bull Racing on 17, Alfa Romeo on 9, Haas on 8, and AlphaTauri on 7 points. But that's pretty much it in terms of news. We can now focus on this qualifying session. It appears that Blockman will be the first driver to attempt a flying lap. We're right on board with the Alpine driver. Give you a tour of this 2.9 mile racetrack. Down towards turn 1, entry speed 205 miles an hour, down to 6th gear using a healthy amount of curb on the exit, around turn 2 and into the hairpin of turn 3. Exiting in 2nd gear, shock shifting to 3rd, 4th gear, 5th gear through turn 4, understeering wide and invalidating the lap. What a surprise. You do have to be so careful out of turn 4. The car really wants to understeer during the exit of the corner, so you do have to be very careful. Subfalime, we're right on board with him. There is an Aston Martin directly in front of him. But coming out of turn 4, negotiates that quite a bit better compared to Blockman. Nowhere near as much understeer compared to the Alpine driver. Around the hairpin of turn 5, definitely the best overtaking spot on the circuit. Really big braking zone, really tight corner, usually promotes really good overtaking. Around turn 7 and into the notorious turn 8, probably the trickiest corner on the racetrack. You can see on the telemetry the drivers have to be incredibly careful on the accelerator. You can't just slam the accelerator out of turn 8. Around turns 10 and 11, then down the hill towards turn 12, then back up the hill towards turn 13, down through the gears, down to 4th gear. Will he short shift? No, he won't. He will keep it in 4th as Harmasa sets the benchmark. 118.9 is his lap. Sub to line comes out of turn 14, the penultimate corner, and around the final turn, turn 15, 7th gear, flat out the whole way round, and back onto the main straightaway he goes. Villeneuve goes second fastest, sub to line third fastest, a 1 minute 20.013. Sergeant Bill goes fourth quickest with a 21.5. Mr. Nars making his way around the final corner as Sorziti jumps up to pole position with a 17.892. Mr. Nars goes P3 with an 18.982. Currently, what's that, 23 thousandths of a second off the harm assist in P2. Rocket Alamar making his way around the final corner, turn 15, absolutely flat out the whole way round here and back onto the main straightaway. He'll open DRS and cross the line to go second fastest with a 1 minute 18.545. Little Mick hasn't validated this run. Take it easy on a flying lap, making his way out of turn 13 and around turn 14 as Mighty Wombat jumps to the top. He's just beaten Saucy by a 10.5 to set a 1 minute 17.737. Take it easy, making his way out to the final corner and back on to the main straightaway. Where will the Ferrari driver slot in? P7 with a 19.571. Championship leader Jack making his way around the circuit. He's on an out lap. He's getting himself ready. John here coming towards the end of a flying lap, making his way towards turn 14, down to third gear, gently applying the accelerator. Should remind people as well, these guys aren't using assists. I think the only assist they're allowed to use is racing line, and that's it. And around this racetrack, you need as much traction as possible. So without traction control, you're really going to be struggling around here, especially if you're a bit too eager on the accelerator. Really easy to spin out around this circuit. Down the hill out to turn 11, towards turn 12 goes KD 1997. Can he challenge his teammate Mighty Wombat? During qualifying, they tend to be quite close in terms of lap time. So I'm expecting to see a high 17 from KD. Let's see what he's capable of. He makes his way around turn 15, the final corner, and back onto the main straightaway, keeping it nice and narrow. Up towards the line, it's a 17.923. It is a high 17. He goes P3, just behind Saucy and his teammate, who still occupies pole position. Little Mick looks like he's low on fuel and low on battery, so he'll be going into the pits very shortly. All right, championship leader VSR Jack making his way around turns 1, 2, and into the hairpin of turn 3, down to third gear. Short shifts up to fourth. Reaches full throttle, then gets off full throttle. Reaches to about 60% throttle, I reckon, at turn 4. Right at the apex of turn 4, that is. And Jack is apparently purple to the first sector. No surprises there, but ran wide at the exit of turn 5. You saw it there with the camera angle we had. Had all four wheels over the white line. It wasn't by much, but it was by enough. Blockman purple to the middle sector. Yet to set a lap time. I'm expecting him to jump towards the front of the field. Riding the brake and the throttle at the same time there, I saw in the telemetry. Really trying to claw the car around the corner and flat out round the final turn. Back onto the main straightaway. Go over the crest, open DRS, cross the line. P3, 17.901. He beats KD by 22 thousandths of a second. Saucy getting ready. Little Mick going back into the pits. Laquido getting ready. Jack, will he go for another run? He's got his battery charged up all the way. He's got fuel in the car. He doesn't have a flashing red light on the telemetry, so he should have enough fuel for another run. And that's exactly what he's going to do. All right. Down the main straightaway. What kind of peak speed will we see here from the Williams? 204, 205 indicated, 206 I saw briefly just before turn 1. Out of 2, into turn 3, down to second gear, short shifts to third, fourth gear, around turn 4, short shifts to fifth gear, sixth gear, DRS open, seventh gear, towards a hairpin, eighth gear, back down to third for turn 5. Again, purple to the first sector. Man, he was riding really close to the white line at the exit of turn 5. Exiting turn 6. Turn 7 now. Into turn 8, running wide. And there is another invalidation. So yeah, not ideal for Jack during his opening couple of attempts. 2 invalidated runs. It looks like, though, he's going to keep pushing. What kind of time will we see here? 52 flat to the middle sector. I'll try and keep that in mind. Take it easy, making his way around the final corner. Current PB is a 19.5. Take it easy, we'll cross the line to set a 19.2. Jumps up to P11, improving by just over 0.3 of a second. Villeneuve is currently even with his personal best as he makes his way through the final sector and around turn 14. One corner remains. Turn 15, absolutely flat out around the right-hander. 177 miles an hour at the apex there. You can imagine the ridiculous G-forces a real-life driver has to put up with. Villeneuve improves by 0.2 to do an 18.8. Saucy currently down to the first sector. Mighty Wombat coming towards the beginning of a lap here. Down the main straightaway towards turn 1. Peak speed 203 miles an hour indicated into turn 1. Around turn 2 towards turn 3. Down from 7th gear, brings it down to 3rd. Short shifts up to 4th. Through turn 4. Understeering a little bit, but he gets through the corner okay. To the first sector split, he is down, but not by much. By only 1/100th of a second. Saucy, meanwhile, he's got one corner to go through. Turn 15. 176 miles an hour through the apex there, as he'll cross the line to set a 1:17.777. He's missed out on pole position by 0.04 of a second. Meanwhile, KD looks like he's going to begin a flying lap, and he'll head down towards T1. What kind of speed will we see here? 203, 204 miles an hour. Wombat has bailed out of this lap, it seems. Interesting. He was on a run. He was on a pretty decent lap. He was up by 1/10 to the middle sector, but he's just bailed out of it. He might have been distracted by traffic, I'm not sure. But I think he'll be going back into the pits. KD, meanwhile, is up. Not by much, but he's up by 0.006 of a second. Around turn 6, into the notorious right-hand curves of turn 7 and turn 8. Gently applying the accelerator, eventually reaching full throttle just before the top of the crest out of turn 8. Around turn 9, into turn 10. Nice and wide entry at turn 10, so you can try and open up turn 11 as much as possible. And KD is up by 66 thousandths of a second, as I believe that was Little Mick, who has just jumped up to P5 with an 18.362. KD, meanwhile, makes his way out of the penultimate corner towards the final turn now. 7th gear. Carries 7th gear all the way around the curve. Keeps it nice and narrow on the exit and decides to bail on the flying lap with just over 6 minutes left in qualifying. John has made a mistake out of turn 13. Currently P9 with an 18.9. He might return back to pit lane. Sergeant Bill is down on this lap. Mr. Jack here making his way out of turn 4. Purple again to the first sector, not a surprise, into turn 5. Short shifting up to 4th gear, kept it a lot more narrow coming out of turn 5. I believe Tom's going to cross the line here. Jumps up to P5 with an 18.271. Currently, what's that, 3.5 off KD in 4th position. Out of turn 9, heading up the hill. Rounds turns 10 and 11. Short shifting up to 5th gears. Blockman jumps to the top. 17.694. Jack, meanwhile, making his way around turn 13. 2 corners left. A small correction there I saw at the exit of turn 13. Maybe had a slight bit of snap oversteer at the exit of 13. Corrected it well. Around turn 15, the final corner, and back on to the main straightaway. Doesn't keep it narrow like some of the other drivers. Jack will cross the line to set a 17.252. He's just beaten Blockman by just under 4.5 tenths of a second. That's a big gap. That's a huge gap. Tom will be going back into the pits. Bill will be going back in. Harmacist is getting ready. Flavius, he's going back in. Sparty has just completed a run. So, Professor Phil, I was about to say Sergeant Phil, it's Professor Phil, makes his way back onto the main straightaway to complete another flying lap. It's a 19 flat, jumps up to P14. So he jumps up into the point scoring places. Harmacist, as Shizant has joined the session, interesting. Shizant has left the session. Harmacist, round turn 1, into turn 2, and up towards turn 3. Brings it down to 3rd gear. Nice and steady on the exit, up to 4th gear. 5th gear through turn 4. Down the back straightaway now with DRS wide open. Currently up. He's found time. He found 6 tenths through the first sector. Okay. He's found some time. Obviously, that PB he's got right now isn't anywhere near what he can do around this circuit. Up and over the crest, out of turn 8. There was a Ferrari off the racetrack there. That must have been Phil trying to get out of the way. Round turn 10, slightly too narrow, I think, there at turn 10. Could have opened up the corner a bit more. In fact, he's lost a little bit of time to the middle sector. Could also have been thanks to Professor Phil sitting on the outside of turn 8. Out of turn 14. One corner left for Harmacist. 7th gear, flat out round the right-hander. He'll go over the crest and cross the line to set an 18.717. He lost 3 tenths to the final sector. Not ideal. Don't know where he would have lost 3 tenths from. His final sector looked alright. I guess not. KD getting ready with 2.5 minutes left in qualifying. This will more than likely be his final flying lap attempt, but if KD does make a mistake during this lap, he should have enough time to at least try and do one more. Down the main straightaway towards turn 1. 200 miles an hour, 203, 204 indicated into turn 1. 6th gear. Keeps it in 6th through turn 2, up to 7th, then back down to 4th gear through turn 3. Around turn 4 now, in 5th gear, then down the back straightaway. Clock says he's up by 84 thousandths of a second as he makes his way into the hairpin of turn 5. Kept it just within the white lines there, used the full width of the curb at the exit of turn 5, around turn 7 and into the very tricky turn 8. Keeps it stable on the exit. Very tidy indeed from KD. Saucy has invalidated this run. He's got just over 1.5 minutes left in qualifying, so he should get one more attempt in. He has time to get one more run in. Purple apparently to the middle sector there for KD. I presume that's going to be a glitch. I don't think he'll be chasing pole position, but can he chase P2? Let's find out. Out of the penultimate corner and around the final turn, turn 15. And keeps it narrow on the exit, climbs the hill, over the crest, up towards the line. It's P3. He misses out on P2 by 5 thousandths of a second. Meanwhile, his teammate, Mighty Wombat, exits turn 4, heads towards the first sector split. He's down by 83 thousandths to the first sector. Shouldn't be too worried about that, though. You can find a lot of time in the middle sector, especially if you string it together very nicely. Blockman will begin his final flying lap attempt. Down towards turn 1 he goes. 205 miles an hour indicated as he goes through turns 1, 2, up towards turn 3, down to 3rd gear, down to 2nd even. Will he short shift? Yes, he will. Up to 3rd, up to 4th, up to 5th gear. Down the back straightaway now with DRS open. Clock says to the first sector he's up by 81 thousandths of a second. Mighty Wombat is down by a tenth of a second now to the middle sector. This hasn't been a tidy final lap from Mighty Wombat, our defending America Series Drivers Champion. He will try and complete this flying lap though, up towards the line for Wombat, and he does not improve. His session is done. The best he can hope for is P4. Jack making his way out of turn 4, down the back straight towards turn 5. And he's down massively to the first sector, so he will not be improving on this flying lap. Best he will do is a 17.2. Blockman, meanwhile, has 2 corners to negotiate. He can cement himself on the front row if he can improve considerably. Out to the final corner. Keeping it nice and narrow as he crosses the line to set a 17.6 exactly. That's P2. Can anyone beat that? Can Tom beat that? He's on a pretty decent lap here. He's getting a tow from an AlphaTauri as well. It's a 1 minute 17. No, it's an 18 flat. It's P6 for Tom. Little Mick, don't believe you'll be improving. Sergeant Bill, I think his session is done as well. Take it easy, he's jumped up to P13. Professor Phil, ooh, there's some debris there. I think that's Jack, as Phil improves by 26 thousandths of a second. We'll stay P16. Laquito will go back into the pits and retire from the session. So that's it, qualifying over. It's VSR Jack who will start from pole position for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Now, I've got to find the bingo table for this race. See what we've got so far. So, first things first, that one. So, Lane calls out bingo spots on stream. I will be doing that. Dry race, we'll see. I'm not sure yet. Top 7 within half a second. Let's have a look. I don't think so. Top 7 within half a second? No, top 7 within 1.1 seconds. Xbox license mapping. Turn 1 melee. A lot of these are racing related. Yeah. So I think the only one we've got so far is me calling out bingo spots on stream. That's it so far. So, results from qualifying. It's VSR Jack who will start from pole position with a margin of 3.5 tenths over Blockman in P2. KD's next P3, followed by Saucy in 4th, then Mighty Wombat 5th, Tom 6th, Mr. Nas 7th, Little Mick in 8th, Villeneuve 9th, and Rocket Lamar rounds out the 10. We've got the Harmisters P11, followed by Sergeant Bill, Take It Easy, Sub for Line, John C, Professor Phil, Flavius in Saint Sparty, and Laquito will start from the very back in P19. Alright. Race time. Alright. What do the conditions look like for the race? Dry. There is not a single cloud in the sky. Yet. Give it time, it may change. But, for the start, it is bone dry here at Portimao. Which I'm sure a lot of the drivers are quite thankful for. Because this track is tricky enough in the dry, let alone in the wet. So... something to mention as well, it will take a little while for us to begin the formation lap as per America Series protocols. So it will, yeah, this will take a little while. So I better talk about this key point. In regards to strategy, at the very least, the medium tyre seems to last quite some time around here at Portimao. This was a common thing in last year's game in F1 21, where tyre wear really wasn't existent. And although the trend isn't quite the same, it is quite similar. According to the game, the medium compound tyre can do somewhere between 15 to 19 laps. That's the suggested pit window given by the game. The race here in Portugal is 33 laps, so it means that the medium compound tyre can go beyond the halfway mark, which makes strategy incredibly flexible, especially if there's a safety car in the middle of the race. Because even though you might be on the hard tyre in the beginning, the medium tyre can last so long that you can pit at almost any time and go to the end. If there is an early safety car though, like a very early safety car, lap 4, lap 5, then it might turn into a bit of a stretch, but I don't think it would be impossible. So I'll be very keen to see who starts on what tyre for this Grand Prix. Back in Pacific Tier 1 last night, everyone started on the hard tyre. Here in America's Tier 1, it's a mix. It is a mix for the start of this race. So pole sitter Jack is starting on the medium compound tyre. The next 4 cars, Blockman, KD, Saucy and Mighty Wombat, they're all starting on the hards. The next 4 cars, RF1 Tom, Mr. Nars, Little Mick, Villeneuve, they're all starting on the mediums. Rocket Alamar, who rounds out the top 10, is starting on the hard tyre. The Harmesis is starting on mediums, and interestingly, his teammate Sergeant Bill is starting on the soft compound tyre. I have got zero idea what the tyre life of the soft tyre is around this circuit, but I know that the soft tyre in this game, in F1 22, does not last very long. Take It Easy, starting P13, is on the mediums. Subfoline, John C and Professor Phil, they're all starting on the hard tyre. Then the final 3 cars, Flavius and Saint Sparty and Laquito, are all starting on the mediums. So, we have got 8 drivers on the hard compound tyre. Got 1 on the softs. That totals up as 9. That means we've got 10 drivers on the mediums. Almost a 50-50 split, but not quite. Be interesting to see who gets the strategy right tonight. And already the leaders are making their way back onto the main straightaway. They have well and truly pulled away from everybody. Now Jack, our pole sitter, will be starting on the outside heading towards turn 1. May seem like a small detriment, but it means that he'll be starting on the cleaner side of the racetrack. Additionally, by starting on the medium compound tyre, he'll have a grippier tyre compared to the previous 4, well, the 4 drivers behind him. So he should be able to break away from everyone behind pretty quickly off the line. But if he doesn't get a good start, he doesn't get the breakaway, then Blockman has the inside line heading towards turn 1. Saucy has disqualified himself from the session, so he must have missed his grid slot. That's okay. You only lose a couple of meters. It doesn't hurt you too much. It used to hurt you a lot more, though. It used to reset your tyre temperatures, which was not a good thing. But I don't think it should do that anymore. Get rid of the tyre graphic just for a little while, and we'll focus on the start. 19 cars are lined up ready to race. We've got 33 laps in front of us and 5 red lights. We are underway here in Portugal. It's a nice start from VSR Jack. It's a nice start from the Ferrari in the background as KD follows Jack through into second position. Through turn 1 we go. Can everyone get through? 2 wide stuff, all spinning? Not quite. The Harmesis lost control coming out of turn 1. His car was sliding out of the opening corner, but he managed to keep relative control of his car and not hit anyone else. Down towards turn 5. Almost 3 wide action heading around the left-hand hairpin. Villeneuve's got track position. Bill's got drive out of the corner. Can he look to the inside here? Into turn 7, it's tight. Oh, running a bit wide. There goes Villeneuve. Through turn 8, there's contact, and around goes Sergeant Bill. He'll now do a bit of lawn mowing as he rejoins the racetrack down in 18th position. So a bit of drama on the opening lap, a little bit here, a little bit there, but for the most part, it's been pretty tidy. No massive accidents just yet, which is good to see. But Jack leading the way, and look at the margin he's built already. He's got 2 seconds over the entire field He's going to end lap 1 of 33. KD in second position. He got a great start. Follow Jack through. So Saucy behind him in third. Followed by Blockman in fourth. Tom fifth. Mr. Nars in sixth. Mighty Wombat seventh. Little Mick in eighth. Vildo ninth. And John rounds out the top 10. Nice start from John. Up 5 places. Made up the most out of anybody on the opening lap. Take It Easy behind him has made up 2. Rocket Alamar has lost 2. And Rocket, on the hard compound tyre, it is expected. Those hard tyres can be quite difficult to start on. Flavius and Sparty up 3 positions each, respectively. A bit of battling going on between Sparty and Phil, exiting turn 5. Heading up towards turn 6. Can Phil fight down the inside here? He's going to have a go. Oh, he backs out late. Take It Easy, losing some positions. Oh, Sparty almost goes into the back of Take It Easy. He had to back off, so much so he's lost 3 places. Oh, what's happening here? Take It Easy backs off. Really backs off. What's going on? He's stuck in third. Oh, has he disconnected from the session? Is that's what... Ooh, he ghosted briefly there. I reckon he might have disconnected from the session. Jack leading the way, building up a margin. 2.5 seconds is now the gap, and KD, he's now got Saucy on the back of him. Yellow's added Sparty spinning at the final corner. He now drops in behind Take It Easy and Laquito. He drops down to last. Laquito pits in. Guessing that is for damage. Down towards turn 5. Oh, as Laquito retires from the session. Didn't take long. Around turn 6, heading towards turn 7. Through this middle sector, there really isn't much you can do to try and attack the driver in front of you. Just have to be patient and try and not lose too much time to those you're trying to battle. All you can really do is wait until a DRS zone to try and make a move. Nice shot here. You can really see the sheer dynamicism of the elevation change around this circuit from this camera angle. It is ridiculous how many hills and how steep the hills are around this circuit. It's absolutely fantastic. And as I mentioned in the intro, there is not a single circuit we go to on the calendar that has this level of elevation change. The sheer ascends and descends around the circuit are amazing. Mighty Wombat moves through into 6th position, overtaking Mr. Nars. Little Mick is just behind in P8. Villeneuve is on the back of the train in P9, though Mick is starting to lose a little bit of ground. Saucy, close, but not close enough. KD should hold on to 2nd for now. And does, into the hairpin of turn 5. I've now got a helicopter flying over the top of me. Fantastic. Around turn 7. Heading into turn 8. Driver's keeping it well within the white lines. Yellow's out. Flavius spinning at turn 5. Drops down the order. Take It Easy. For some reason dropping a place there. The 2 Alfa Romeos changing places. Harmless moves in front of Sergeant Bill. That is for P14. Back to this battle for 2nd place. KD leading the train. Saucy 2nd. Blockman trying to apply pressure in 4th. Laquito has left the session. Fair enough. Down the main straightaway. We're right on board. You can see that Saucy's using battery down this main straight. Look at the closing speed. Not close enough though to attack into turn 1. Turn 2. Into turn 3. Oh, almost touching the back end of the Mercedes there. Just about pulled it up. Professor Phil overtakes Subfoline. That is for P12. Down the back straightaway. Towards turn 5. Looks to the inside. Commits. Contact between the 2 cars. It was a late send. KD went to take the apex. Oh, it's tight at turn 6. Contact at 7. Blockman moves through. He's into P3. KD not giving his rival too much room. No obvious damage on the front wing there of Saucy's car, so I think he should be okay. But now KD has to deal with Blockman. Professor Phil drops down 2 positions. I think he made a mistake at turn 8. It's cost him a few places. Moves down to P15 now. Was P12. So yeah, he's lost quite a few positions. Blockman losing a little bit of time to KD, but should gain it back down this straightaway with DRS. See the sparks flying from underneath the cars as the floor scrapes up against the tarmac, and here comes Blockman. The overspeed is massive. Oh, but KD fights round the long way at turn 1. Oh, I don't know about that one, Chief. Not sure about that. Round turn 3. Into turn 4. They're side by side. Oh, contact! Force wide is Blockman. Through goes Saucy into second place. 3 wide into turn 5. Tom down the inside. KD in the middle. Blockman force well out wide. My goodness me. Almost some more 3 wide action, this time with Wombat, as they head around turn 7 into turn 8. Harsh driving going on here in this pack. KD not given too much room to anybody, it seems. So Saucy now in second position. Tom is gaining some few freebies here and there. All yellows out. That is Sergeant Bill spinning round at turn 8. Sub for Lime is overtaken by the Harm Assist. The Harm Assist moves into P12. Around the final corner and back onto the main straight. The new leader of this train of cars is Saucy in the Aston Martin. RF1 Tom behind in third. KD now in 4th place, and as Blockman closing in to the inside once again here at turn 1. KD again running wide and again keeping the position as Sub for Lime spins out at the final corner. Uses a little bit of that extra pit lane. Try and keep control of his car. That's very smart driving there rather than trying to drive on the grass. Around the hairpin at turn 5, side-by-side action between Wombat and Blockman. So Blockman attacking KD. And now Blockman under assault from the other Mercedes-Benz, a Mighty Wombat. So really harsh battling here towards the front of the field. These guys are giving no quarter. Heading up the hill, round turn 10, into turn 11. Down the hill through turn 12, back up the hill into 13. Sector 2 yellows, that is the Harm Assist spinning out at turn 8. Oh dear. The Harm Assist was recovering well, but he's undone all that hard work with a spin. Meanwhile, out in front, in a class of his own, Jack has just set the fastest lap at 20.6. He's got 8.7 seconds over the rest of the field right now. Tom applying pressure to Saucy. Saucy hanging on just to P2. KD under pressure from Blockman. Probably a few question marks over the head of KD. Especially with him using the runoff area on the outside of turn 1 and still keeping position. As well as the contact that we saw at turn 4. And I suppose at turn 7 that we saw with Saucy as well. That was really touch and go. But fortunately, nothing too major has happened from those incidents. No one's spun out. No one's got damage from what I could tell. As Phil makes a mistake out of turn 4, costs himself a place to his teammate. So Phil now down to 13th position. Down the hill, Tom applying pressure. Saucy hanging on pretty well. Can KD catch up to the Saucy and Tom to P2 and 3? The gap sitting at 1.3 seconds. Every lap he doesn't have DRS, he's going to be losing time to the two in front as Bill spins at turn 8. We're going to see a lot of spins at turn 8 over the course of this race. Dumping his battery, Blockman, he wants to attack. As Tom does that, he moves into P2. What about Blockman? To the inside again at turn 1. Sends it in. KD runs off the racetrack. That's the third time I've seen that, but Blockman's having none of it. Down the inside at 3. Round the outside at 4. KD shuts the door. DRS open on Blockman's Alpine. KD covers the inside into 5. Shoots around the long way. Contact, light contact, but great traction. Out of turn 5, Blockman moves through into 4th place. Mr. Nars under pressure from Little Mick here. Half a second separating these two. The gap was a bit smaller last time I looked at this battle. And Villeneuve isn't too far behind in 9th position either. He's just 1 second off these two, so we might have a 3-car fight in a few moments' time. But for now, it's just a duel between Mr. Nars and Little Mick. There's the battle for P4. Here's the battle for P7. Making their way towards the final corner. Can Little Mick attack the Red Bull of Mr. Nars? I think he might be a bit too far behind, but look at the battery he's got a ton of it, 80% compared to the 30 Mr. Nars has. And the overspeed that Little Mick has is incredible. That is demonstrating the sheer power of DRS. And now Villeneuve has truly entered the battle. He's only half a second behind Little Mick now. So 3-car fight for 7th. Or we might have only a 2-car fight for 5th in a few moments' time. It seems Blockman has got some decent pace. Yeah, the gap's increased now to 1.1 seconds between Blockman and KD. Ooh, almost putting all 4 wheels over the white line there. Some other battles elsewhere. For the final point scoring spots, we've got Professor Phil Flavius and the Harmesis, who's close but doesn't go for the move at turn 5. Gets nice traction out of turn 5, heading around turn 6. Into 7. And up towards turn 8. This notorious right-hander, you have to be so careful through here. Jack sets a new fastest lap, 20.5 from him. Seems that Mr. Nars has pulled away just a little bit. It's 5.5 tenths between him and the Williams. You can see Mick has got some battery to play with. And he is closing in rapidly into turn 1. Backs off considerably though. A bit of lag there, but that's okay. He recognised how much overspeed he had. He just decided to back off and not try and overtake into turn 1. Because usually going side by side through there does not end well. Rocket on the back of John, heading down the back straight away towards turn 5. He now draws alongside John. Down the inside, he shoots through, or understeers wide, and John gets the position back. Great bit of racecraft from John there. Left the door wide open, but he cut in at the apex. Drove his Haas properly out of the corner, and he was able to hang on to his 10th place. Good driving. Down the hill. Around turn 9, back up the hill, around turn 10, into 11. Down the hill through turn 12, now the gap sitting at 5 tenths. Jack sets a new fastest lap, 20.546. Yellow's out, and that's the Harmesis spinning at turn 8. Here comes Insane Sparty to take P16 away from Harmesis. Rocket LMR, can he find a way by? You'll have the... Oh, look at the overspeed. It's tremendous. Draws along some... Goodbye, John. The overspeed. Man. That Red Bull is a rocket ship in a straight line. Seems that KD has maintained his 5th place. Wombat hasn't found a way by just yet. Mr. Nars has held on to 7th, but he still has Mick all over his gearbox. Into turn 7, 1.5 tenths separate these two. Climbing up the hill now, out of turn 8. Over the crest, down the hill, through turn 9. Again, Mick won't be doing much through this sector. Just needs to stay calm, minimise mistakes. He needs to prioritise getting a run through turn 14. Out of all the corners you need to prioritise, I reckon turn 14 is probably the most important. because that corner will dictate how much speed you carry through the final turn, as well as how much speed you carry down the main straight. So it's very important that you get a nice run out of the right-hand sweeper, as the Harmister spins again at turn 8 and drops back down to P17. Blockman's overtaken Saucy, and Little Mick has overtaken Mr. Nars for P7. Saucy, can he try and fight back? He's definitely in a position where he could fight back. Around turn 4 onto the back straight. DRS open, but look at Blockman straight line speed. Hoo-wee, he's quick down the straights. Sector 3 yellows, that's the Harmist again, spinning out this time at turn 13, entering turn 14. Around turn 8, heading up and over the crest and back down the hill towards turn 9. Saucy losing a little bit of ground to Blockman in front. Needs to work quite hard in order to keep up with the Alpine. Can't do that just yet. Jack's in. This is pitting in quite early, I must say, based off the information that I know. So a bit of an undercut going on to move off the... Tom's in, too. To move off the medium compound tyre and onto a set of hards. Interesting. Can stretch the tyres out a bit more, but I guess for both Jack and Tom, there's no point. Because note as well, Tom's low on fuel. You can tell by the red fuel icon on the telemetry, so... How much fuel does he have right now? How much is he under? Leaving the pits now, he's got plenty of clear air to play with. So he'll be able to set some competitive times. He is 0.15 under. So only a little bit under. Not massively under. But it may come to bite him if he's unable to get that fuel back. Though I would assume he would be able to get the fuel back. Oh. I'm Seffy. I remember that name. What season? Are you put season 3? I think I remember you from, Seffy. Been a while since I've seen your name pop up. I don't know. F1 2020, yeah, that's right. It would have been season 3 and 4. Into the pits comes Little Mick and Mr. Nars. They'll be moving off the medium compound tyre and onto a set of hards, and they'll be going to the end of the race on these tyres. Quite remarkable, I have to say, as well, around here at Portugal. I've commentated 2 other races here. Not a single safety car in any of them, and we're reaching the halfway mark here. So it might be quite likely that, in terms of my experiences here in Portugal... Oh, that's tight. Flavius gets in front of Mr. Nars as well. But yeah, it seems like if I'm commentating a race here, we're not getting a safety car. Yeah, I haven't stopped yet. I reckon you would have liked a safety car last night, Bags, in Tier 1. That race for you would have lasted an eternity, especially with all your little spins here and there. It really just sort of demonstrates how difficult this track is. It doesn't take much to make a mistake. Just that little bit too much throttle input, a little bit too much curb, and around goes the car. It's very easy. KD's in. So he's going to jump off these hard tyres, undercut his rivals, put on the mediums. They should make it. Should. They might be a bit iffy towards the end, but they should make it. Tom making his way onto the main straight. Where does he come out relative to KD? Should come out in front, and does. Well in front. Alright. Well, that's a cut if ever I saw one of the pit lane exit white line. Half a second separating Saucy and Mighty Wombat. Heading over the crest and down the hill, round turn 9. 5.5 tenths, 5 tenths separating these two. Villeneuve and Nars are battling for position. Let's have a look at this. Oh, and Subfalime's involved. Round the outside goes the McLaren on his warmer tyres. He's got all the grip, and he moves through into P12. Tidy overtake. His next target will be Mr. Nars. Mr. Nars on 1 lap old Haas. His tyres will be getting close to getting up to temperature. They might need an extra sector or so in order to reach their optimal temperature range. KD 4.5 seconds behind Tom. He's got some catching up to do. Tom's got pace, we know that. His tyres are up to temperature by now as well. Leaders are all staying out for another lap. No one's coming in. John's coming in though. John has moved into pit lane. He'll move on to a set of mediums. Down the back straight away. Wombat closes in. Looks to the inside, but is too far behind to really try and make a move. There's Sparty and Harmesis, I believe, battling for P17 and 18. So they're a lap down to the current race leader. Of course, Blockman, Saucy, Wombat, they all have to pit. Jack, our provisional race leader, in 4th. And he's still got clear track to play with. Man. Even by pitting early, he still had clear track, no one to deal with. Little Mick around the outside of Professor Phil at the entry to turn 5. So Mick moves through into 8th place, Phil down to 9th. Mr. Nars, sub for line. John is in front of Villeneuve. Needs to get those tyres up to temperature. They should get up to temperature at the end of the middle sector. But right now he might be a tad bit vulnerable. Whereas Villeneuve, his tyres would be pretty close to getting up to temperature by now. He closes the gap to 4 tenths of a second, just over 4 tenths. He might be able to launch an attack down the main straightaway if he can string the final sector together. But you can see now John's tyres are now up to temp. He pulled away by 2 tenths out of turn 11. So he's now got the grip. He's got the temperature. He's now starting to pull away from Villeneuve. So I don't think the Aston Martin driver will be challenging the Haas driver anytime soon. Although, as closed in around the final corner, Villeneuve's got some straight line speed. My God! Well, past me was wrong. Well, past me of like 30 seconds ago, but still it was wrong. Villeneuve moves through. That is some serious straight line speed difference between those two. John looks to the inside, into turn 5. Gets in front. Retakes P12, and there's Subfaline just in front. So this battle isn't exactly over. John's got a corner advantage. The extra grip and probably a higher downforce setup compared to Villeneuve. Whereas Villeneuve has got all the straight line speed in the universe. And now, Villeneuve has got a helping hand with Subfaline backing up the Haas driver. Alright, so Rocket Alamar, he'll be pitting for mediums. Blockman comes out in clear traffic. Here comes Tom. Blockman's got margin over Tom, but Tom has got tyres that are up to temperature. That gap's going to shrink. It's now 0.8 of a second between these two. Saucy under pressure from KD. A small mistake there from Saucy. This will open up a window of opportunity as KD gives himself a 3-second time penalty. To the inside looks KD. Dives it in deep. Oh, there's contact and Saucy is forced out wide. KD moves into 5th position. Saucy shouldn't get too overwhelmed about that. He knows he has to get his tyres up to temperature, and when he does, he should have a tyre advantage. He's on 3-lap fresher medium compound tyres. That does really make a difference in terms of overall pace. Rocket and Mr. Nars looks like they might be battling. John has pulled away from Villeneuve as Jack sets a new fastest lap. Mighty Wombat in the pit lane as well. He'll move on to a set of mediums and go to the end of the race on those. So yeah, John, with the pace of the mediums, as well as better grip from the setup, is pulling away from Villeneuve. Be tough for the Aston Martin driver to catch back up. Alright, where is Wombat? He is well in front of KD. There you go. Oh, Saucy running wide. Big time there at turn 1. Alright. Of course, that gap will shrink thanks to Wombat being on cold tyres. It won't take too long, though, to get up to temperature. Yellow's out. It's John. Oh, no. Looked pretty comfortable in P10 there. Had the car underneath him, but unfortunately he made a mistake at turn 1. Harm assist has spun again, this time at turn 11. Oh dear. Tom on the back of Blockman. 7/10 separating these two. Tom's got some work to do. He's got a tyre disadvantage in both age and compound. Seems he's got pace underneath him. Jack, meanwhile, setting fastest laps. 20.2 from the Williams driver. Around turn 15. Back onto the main straight. Tom will have DRS and will close in by at least a 10th. Won't close in by a huge amount, but he will keep this fight alive for P2. Yellow's out. That is Sergeant Bell spinning. He now drops outside of the points with that mistake. He's down to P16. Flavius now into the points in P15. Gaps are starting to spread out here in Portugal. This is the closest battle we have on track. KD versus Saucy. 0.6 of a second separating these two. A bit wide there from Saucy. That probably was a warning. Round turn 6 into turn 7. Sector 2 yellows, that is the harm assist, I believe, slowing down. Oh, no, he has spun. He has not slowed down, he has spun. Oh, well, he has slowed down because of the spin. I thought he just slowed down to let the leading cars through. But no, he spun. Jack out in front, commanding this race. 18.1 seconds is the gap. And that is Sergeant Bill spinning at turn 1. A lot of spins here in Portugal. It was as if this circuit was designed by Mattia Bonotto. Mighty Wombat new fastest lap, 20.127. Blockman. Closed the gap up a little bit. It's now 17.8. So it's closed in. KD. Under pressure here from Saucy, heading around turn 3, up towards turn 4. Rocket Alamar has overtaken Little Mick. That's for P7. Saucy closing in down the back straightaway towards turn 5. No send from the Aston Martin driver here into the hairpin. And while Saucy is stuck behind KD, Mighty Wombat is able to drive away. This should allow Wombat to secure, at worst, a 4th place finish. I say at worst because there's Tom in 3rd. He is closing in. The tyre difference now between the hards and the mediums is becoming much more apparent. So we might have a battle on for 3rd position in a few moments' time. Can Rocket pull away from Little Mick? He's got a tyre advantage in both compound and in tyre wear. Little Mick, to his credit though, it's not dropping away too quickly. Kept sitting at 7/10, 7.5 tenths. Doing the best he can on the tyres he's got. Blockman does a 19.8 new fastest lap. It's actually closed in on Jack a little bit. It's now 17.5 seconds between the top two. Saucy close, not close enough though. Into turn 3. Boy, he's right on the back of the Mercedes there. Around turn 4. DRS open. He's too far behind again. KD is just quick enough in the right areas, but a mistake at turn 5 opens up a window of opportunity for Saucy, and through he moves into 5th place. Oh dear. I believe KD just locked up into the apex at turn 5, understeered wide, and he left the door wide open for Saucy to walk through. And that's exactly what the Aston Martin driver did. So now he's got a clear track in front. Can he pull away from KD? Oh, and that helps! KD makes a mistake at the exit of turn 11, smashes the Fly Emirates boards, and rejoins the racetrack in 6th position, but now 5.8 seconds behind Saucy in P5. So no pressure from behind now from KD. Saucy can keep his eyes forward and try and close in on Mighty Wombat, who has closed in on RF1 Tom. We have a battle on for 3rd place, and depending on how hard these two squabble, it may even turn into a 3-car fight with Saucy. You'd never know. So we'll keep our eyes on this. We've got 10 laps to go here in Portimao. Plenty of racing to take place. Plenty of laps to count down. Around turn 6. Heading towards turn 7 into turn 8. Gap sitting at 0.6 of a second. Over the crest, down the hill towards turn 9. Wombat, all he can do is minimise time loss. Could have been, he should have been way more open at turn 10. He was way too narrow through turns 10 and 11. Cost himself about a 10th. When you're in this sort of position, you need to try and maximise what you got. You can't be too lazy with the racing line. You need to be pretty spot on with it. He'll open DRS. He will close in on Tom. Gain maybe a 10th and a half, 2 tenths maybe. Well, he's going to gain more than that, it seems. Going to gain 2.5, 3 tenths down the straightaway. DRS is really powerful down the main straight. Wombat close, looking to the inside. He had to pull up quite hard there. If he didn't pull up like he did, he would have hit Tom at turn 3. But he didn't. Professor Phil overtakes his teammate. That is for P12. Saucy is closed to within 2.3 seconds now of this battle. He is closing. We might have 3 cars battle for 3rd. Awesome stuff. Up the hill. Over the crest. And cascading down the hill. Round turn 9. Sparty gets a 3-second time penalty. And again, using a very narrow line through 10 and 11 from Wombat. Doesn't lose as much time this time around. But I really do advise, you have to really try and open up turn 10 as much as you can. Some dude named Final Rush has joined us. No idea why. But whatever. 4 tenths round the final corner, separating these two. So back onto the main straightaway. Lap 26 now, 33. We've got 8 to go. And here comes Wombat. Oh, doesn't go for it. Stays behind through turn 1, into 2, towards 3. Oh, he is right there, ready to pounce. He's not game enough to go for it just yet. But the longer he waits, the closer this guy closes up. Out of turn 5. There's Saucy. 2 seconds behind, 2.1 to be exact. Around turn 7. Up towards turn 8. 2 very different racing lines there entering 8. Wombat a lot narrower. Tom opening up the corner quite a bit more. Using more of the outside curb. You can see here, Tom, he's got his left-hand side rear wheels touching the outside curb at turn 10. Mighty Wombat is about a foot and a half away from that curb. Oh, he's missed the apex big time at 13. Need to be on point here, mate. He's close. 4.5 tenths behind. Around the final corner. Back onto the main straightaway. There is a car in front of this. Not quite sure who that might be. Down towards turn 1. Wombat is not close enough to attack. Saucy is closing. The gap has shrunk down to 1.9. Saucy's got pace. doing everything he can to try and catch up to the two in front, but that does not help at all. A mistake at turn 3. The back end kicked out sideways. He managed to catch it quite well, but it did cost him a tenth or two. That could be critical in the context of this race for third. Only got a few laps left. Now, is that Sparty, or is it... It is Sparty. Well, eventually he'll have to give in to blue flags. They should be flashing around the racetrack right on board. Yeah, there's the blue flags there. You can see it on the far right. The Sparty being shown blue flags. He should give way shortly, because he's providing quite the distraction to this battle. Wombat, he's closer than what he's ever been before, but problem is Tom will now get DRS thanks to Sparty's car being there. There he goes, he pulls off to the side and let these guys through. So Tom and Wombat with DRS. Yellow's out. I think that is Sergeant Bell spinning, I think. Up into turn 3, deep on the brakes, almost hits the back of the McLaren. But again, he managed to pull it up just in time. Out of turn 4. And the back straight towards turn 5. Not close enough. Just keeping the pressure on. Oh, a mistake from Tom! Oh, thankfully Wombat wasn't in a appropriate position so he could capitalize on that. One small mistake from Tom. He can't afford another. Yellow's out. That is KD spinning at turn 5. He's still got a margin though to Rocket LMR. He should be able to keep P6. Little Mick and Mr. Nars. These two have been battling all the way through. Battling for P8 and 9. Villeneuve's got pressure behind. John is all over the back of him. These two were battling earlier. We've got a few battles going. Oh, a moment from Villeneuve. Nice catch. Nice catch. John is closing in. Here comes Wombat. Should get by. Draws alongside on the racing line. Tom's moves back onto the racing line. Slots in behind the Mercedes, who now takes third. Sergeant Bill, a 5-second time penalty for speeding as he retires from the race. Round turn 4. Onto the back straight away. What can Tom do? He's got a bit of battery in hand. 20-odd%. And there's Saucy. Saucy has joined the fight. He's just over 1 second behind. If he can gain a couple of tenths, he'll get DRS on Tom. Out of turn 8. Oh, a moment. Oh, good catch. Can't afford that though. He is low on battery, only 5% next to his name. Wombat trying to pull away now. Wombat's got 14% battery. He's got a little bit of battery in his back pocket. Not a lot, but maybe, just maybe enough. Out of turn 13. Around turn 14. The gap's increased to 9/10 of a second. Saucy is within 9/10 of Tom, so Saucy will get DRS, Tom will get DRS. They won't close in by much, but every tenth helps with only 4 laps to go. Round turn 1. 2. Into turn 3. A bit wide there. So long as Wombat doesn't make a massive mistake, I have a feeling he will hang on to third position. He needs to make sure he doesn't make a mistake, which around this place, easier said than done, that's for sure. Little Mick, Mr. Nars, 4/10 of a second separating these two as they head around turn 3. Up the hill and around turn 4. Mick driving well, Nars driving well. Nars closes in with DRS, but obviously by not enough to attack here into turn 5. Seems the two Ferraris are also potentially scrapping. 4/10 separate these two. Oh, just take it easy, he's ghosting. Oh, was ghosting, at least periodically though. Saucy is close to within half a second of Tom. They go up and over the crest, cross the line to begin lap 31. They've got 3 laps to go. Saucy, with very limited opportunities to fight for a podium, needs to get by Tom as soon as possible. Out of turn 2, into 3. Gets close, but not close enough to send it down the inside. He lost about 3/10 through turn 3. Suggests to me he went for a genuine shot down the inside, but he had to pull it up to avoid making contact with the McLaren. Making their way now out of turn 5 towards turn 6. Around the notorious double right-handers of turn 7 and turn 8. Tidy from all 3 drivers on the exit there. Go around turn 9, back up the hill, round turn 10, into turn 11. Jack crossed the line a little while ago. He's got 2 laps to go. He's way out in front, commanding this race, commanding everything in the America Series so far. It's been quite literally untouchable. Around the final corner, back onto the main straightaway. Tom has closed to within 6/10 of Wombat. This battle isn't over yet. Tom, DRS Open, will close in on the Mercedes down into turn 1. The gap has shrunk to half a second. Into the hairpin at turn 3. It's important that you get a nice tidy run through here. Very easy to lose those few extra tenths of a second if you make a mistake. You can't afford to lose them, not at this stage now. Here comes Mr. Nars on the attack. Mick can't do much about this. A Saucy has left the session. No! Oh, he was right on the back of this battle. He's now going to drop away. The AI are set at 90. It means that the AI essentially have no pace, at least in these conditions. So that's it. Saucy's fight for a podium finish is over. His AI will cross the line in 5th place. Oh, what a shame. So it's now down to 2 cars. Can Tom do anything? 9/10 behind. He's just within DRS range. I think he's too far back. Even if he gains a few tenths on this lap, I think he'll be too far away. Unless Wombat makes some sort of mistake. It's now the final lap for these 2. Oh, and the AI pits! The AI pits with 1 lap to go! Oh, the AI in this game are so unbelievably stupid. How can it not recognise the lap count? Why has it pit? Oh, for goodness sake. Tom close. But again, if Wombat doesn't make a mistake, he should hang on to 3rd. Oh, Jack, what a performance. Back-to-back wins at Interlagos and at Barcelona. It's a 3-peat here at Portugal. Jack wins the Portuguese Grand Prix and sets the fastest lap of the race right at the end. Blockman will be the next driver to cross the line. Wombat is currently hanging on to 3rd. Should hang on to 3rd at the line. Blockman, with 1 corner to go, makes his way out to turn 15. He'll cross the line in a very, very solid 2nd. And it'll be Mighty Wombat who will complete the podium places in 3rd. And I think Tom ran out of fuel. At the line. Well, this will promote KD into the top 5 so long as he's got a big enough gap to Rocket. And he does by 0.2 of a second. Rocket closing, not by enough. He misses out on P5 by 0.1 of a second. Mr. Nars will be the next car to cross the line in 7th, followed by Little Mick, then Saucy and Villeneuve. Can you possibly believe it? The AI are so thick in this game, in every F1 game. Professor Phil Given, driver of the day, will see his performance in the final results screen. But for right now, it's time for the podium celebrations. As soon as we get by this loading screen. There we go. 3 on the trot. Interlagos, Barcelona, Portimao. Jack is untouchable. Second place will go to Blockman. Third will go to Mighty Wombat. Your podium finishes for the Portuguese Grand Prix. The unofficial results of the Portuguese Grand Prix. It's VSR Jack who takes another win in the Americas Tier 1 Championship. 26 seconds is the gap between first and second at the end of this one. Mighty Wombat will finish in third, RF1 Tom 4th, followed by KD in 5th. Rocket Elamar in P6, followed by Mr. Nars in 7th. Little Mick in 8th. Saucy in a less than deserving P9. Man, that was a great comeback. Up through the field, but yeah, no. Game said no. What can I say? Villeneuve 10th, John 11th, Professor Phil from 16th to 12th. He was given driver of the day. Take It Easy 13th, Subforline 14th. Point scoring places are rounded out by Flavius in 15th, and Saint Sparty 16th, Harmons 17th. Sergeant Bill and Laquito both retired from the session. 19 cars started, 17 finished. There we are. So, America's Bingo. What have we got? We had a dry race. We definitely had a dry race. Did Mercedes beat Alpine? I'd assume so. With both Mercedes finishing in the top 5. I'd assume so. Someone did not get a drive-through. Did we have Turn 1 Melee? We almost did. We definitely almost did. But not quite. Alpine to beat McLaren. Maybe. I'd have to check that one. If I look at the final results again. Good at that. Let's skip to the final damn lap. Tom will score. Sub for Lime scores 2. Tom will score. Hang on. Don't know the points table off the top of my head. Do I not have the points table anyway? Oh, for goodness sake. Well, I don't think McLaren outscored Alpine, so I think Alpine outscored McLaren. First time podium. Was that Blockman's first podium? Could have been. Non-Williams pole? No. Turn 7 spin? No. PlayStation fastest lap? No. No wheel freeze? No. Last lap? No. Someone to lose their wing in lap 1, potentially. Villeneuve to beat Laquito? Yes. Paul is not. Jack? No. Rain, no. One safety car, no. PS fastest lap, no. Another Alpine beat McLaren, yes. 2-stop win, no. Xbox fastest lap, yes. Soft to start the race, one person did. No safety car. If we had a 2-stop win, that would have been bingo. But unfortunately, it's no bingo. I think for today. Oh well. Got close, but not quite close enough. That was a race, wasn't it? Had its ups, had its downs, had its moments, had its drama. And it all reminded us how terrible this game can be. Man, it's been an interesting week here in Portugal, to say the least. Hopefully some of the issues that we've faced have finally subsided. Hopefully we don't get them next week. When we head over to Mexico, for the next round of the championship. Yeah, an interesting one. Well done to the top 3. Well done to Jack for winning again. Well done to Blockman. I would have to check championship standings again just to doubly make sure that is your first podium. I think it might be. I don't have the standings readily available, so do give me a minute. So I'm loading them up onto my phone just to check. Yeah, Mexico sprint round. It is an interesting combination. No, it's not your first podium, Blockman. It's not Mighty Wombat's first podium either. Blockman ended up getting second over at Brazil. Wombat got third last week at Barcelona. So it wasn't a new podium finisher for this week. But yeah, next week over in Mexico, I've always famously disliked Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. As a controller player, the circuit's next to impossible. Purely because of the S section. It is probably the most difficult S section in the game. I mean, there are definitely S sections that rival it, such as the S section of Jeddah, Suzuka, Silverstone, Kota is another tough one, but I've always despised Mexico because in order to carry speed through there, you have to cut every single corner. And if you cut a bit too much, you get track limit warnings. So it is a really, really tough racetrack. And I imagine track limit warnings are going to play a considerable factor next round, considering the fact it's going to be a sprint. So yeah, next week is bound to be quite interesting. But I think, folks, with everything said and done, it's now time for us to wrap up the stream. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I've been Lane Everingham, and we'll see you next week for round 4, the first sprint round of the championship at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the Mexican Grand Prix. Until then, it's goodbye.